All right. Welcome to our coverage of another NCBB bowl game. This time it's the Wonderbra Bowl between Ohio Wesleyan, battling Benders, coached by Jeffro, and the Hawaii Warrior Elves, coached by Apijar. This is two Pro Elf teams going at it. One loves offense and passing, and one loves going for the ball on every single turn on defense. So it's going to be an exciting battle, one would hope. We've got Uber in the booth with me. Perhaps others will join us. Uber, how are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right. Uber was a winner of a bowl game yesterday in the Chainsaw Bowl, but that's a battle between Nurgle and Dwarves, so we're expecting a little more scoring here today. Is this something you can stomach, or do you like a little bit of scoring from time to time?
I am one of the founding member of the ELF, so I do like my elves, and I like scoring touchdowns.
All right, well, you've come to the right place then. If you like scoring touchdowns, you're going to want to pay attention to a couple players in this game. Oh, interesting. It looks like we're not getting Eldril, we're getting the Swift twins. So that's Valen Swift, the throwing member of the duo, and Lucian Swift, the defensive member of the duo. So that's the two-star players that you get as a tag team for 390k. But even they pale in comparison to Jeffro's star catcher, a mere freshman, plus strength, blodge, mighty blow, 60 SPP after one regular season. That's 10 games. That's ridiculous.
Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire. Ioneer welcoming us with his presence, and unlike Uber, Ioneer doesn't believe in offense or passing or touchdowns. He would much rather see a bunch of tombstones on the field than a 0-0 tie.
And I keep showing up. Guys, don't lock the door.
With AV7, anything's possible.
This is true. I mean, we might get a little bit of blood. There is some Mighty Blow on the field. We've got Chase Bender with Mighty Blow. We've got Lucian Swift and the aforementioned Jett Bender. Hawaii, maybe not as much Mighty Blow, if any. Looks like they've got a Frenzy, they've got some Guard, they've got some Blodge, they've got some passing stuff. They're built to score. So we'll see if Ohio Wesleyan's Damn the Torpedoes defense can get the job done. But they're on offense first, so our Pro Elf battle begins very sunny. Perhaps. Go ahead.
I almost wish it was a blizzard.
Blizzard, that would be interesting too. Something to mess them up, but I suppose the old handoff with built-in catch skill works just as well. Not as cool and sexy as passing, but we'll see.
I also gotta say, I love the little tombstone. Last season against Carrick and Zeratog, there were enough deaths to get my first little tombstone in a battle in a game.
Nice. I think that's what, 4?
5, I think.
5. Wow. I haven't seen it too often myself. I was probably the recipient of it, unfortunately. Alright, I suppose one slight thing I've noticed so far is that Apijar's deployed a little further back than he probably could. You could go one row forward, be a little bit closer in case you get a blitz or something like that, but maybe being a little passive, knowing the passing prowess of his opponent. Let's take a look at Valen Swift right now. Nerves of Steel, accurate, sure hands, loner, safe throw, pass. So, despite having loner, he's about as safe as you can be with sure hands, pass, and safe throw.
Don't forget agility 5.
And agility 5, okay. You know, still can roll a 1 on a dodge, I suppose, but still pales in comparison to Zach and Daniel, the agility 5, dodge, accurate, sure hands, safe throw, pass, all natural built-in thrower that Hawaii has. I believe he's the all-time leader in either passing yards or completions or both at this point in league history, and that's only after 3 seasons.
Like, with Nerves of Steel, like, you wouldn't even bother trying to dodge to pass the ball, right? Like, you just throw it.
Yeah, if someone's touching you, you just kind of like give them a little stiff arm and throw it with your other arm, I guess. Both sides get a reroll. We also have a couple inducements, I suppose I should mention. Besides the 2-star players, the battling benders have a dirty trick, and Hawaii, I'm guessing, bought enough to bring a Bloodweiser keg. Alright, kickoff goes right to Jett Bender. That's not good.
We know that Apajar loves Molson beer, so
Maybe
he had to play the fluff, you know.
Yeah, maybe decided to let his team in on the liquid encouragement. Is anybody surprised that we're 7 minutes in and we haven't had a touchdown yet? I kid. Obviously, you have to set up and mark the other teams and do the kickoff stuff and buy your inducements. But I expect our first touchdown to be pretty soon. Maybe 2 turns, maybe 3. But any more than that, and I'll be disappointed. Go ahead.
Don't forget Lucy and Swift goes with Valen.
Correct.
I almost forgot that part.
Just wait until Jeffro starts getting dump off on these catchers, then he's going to be a real nightmare. It's hard enough to get to the first guy with the ball, now you got to get to a second guy who has it. Will we see our first casualty of the game? Yes, we will! Yes. Badly hurt. Good job, Chase Bender. You notice that a lot of his players look very similar. They're all benders of some sort or fashion. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you should have put one of these guys against the Nurgle team.
Actually, Uber was just saying he was actually hoping to play Jeffro in the bowl season because that's one non-AQ team he didn't get to play, but I think the fans, well, they didn't quite get what they wanted last night with the chainsaw battle. It was a little underwhelming for Uber's chainsaw, but it was still a good game. Well, now I'm disappointed officially because there's really no elf in scoring range for next turn. We'll see what...
This is not the game we were promised.
No, I don't expect him to linger too long, but we'll see what Hawaii can do to maybe force the issue. Looks like Apajar glad that Chance Kalaffer, I guess you would say his name, got injured, and so he's guaranteed to redshirt. He won't be getting any SPP this game. For anybody who's not familiar, we follow the fluff of real college football, so a redshirt means he gets to stay an extra year in school. So any player that is hired for the last game of your first season, or his first season rather, or gets 0 SPP the entire time will redshirt and stay a redshirt freshman next season instead of being a sophomore.
Excuse me, follow the cuff. This is the fluff of real college football. This is real college Blood Bowl, man. Gotta get those two straight.
That's what I meant. Alright, Hawaii's blitz not doing too much there, but it looks like they've secured the southern flank for now. Gotta be careful with that AV6 guard player. Still useful, but certainly a big target. Certainly a lot of room up top if Jeffro wants to reverse field or simply send Mark Bender downfield and sideline screen him with the 2 elves next to him, but also potential at the bottom. You could block Caden because he's strength 2, and then, well, you can't surf Mr. Ely, but you can definitely hit him with your tackler who's on the other side of the field, so maybe not a good option. Is there a skill that you hate more than sidestep Einir? Is it blodge? Is it wrestle? Is like what's the thing that bothers you most? Is it leap?
Oh, No, high agility.
So extra agility. Okay. So all the sneaky bastards getting to where they shouldn't.
Yeah. But other than stat increases, I would say I'm most frustrated with maybe safe throw, because that on the off chance I do get a pick, it'll just be like, no, he didn't, and
Psych.
it's already hard enough as it is to get an interception.
Valid point. A little surprising you'd say that, though. I expect the amount of interception chances you get to be pretty low as Camry. I thought for sure something like sidestep would bother you.
They're actually higher than you think, because since I'm so low agility, people aren't super worried about
Throwing over you.
throwing over me. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, I suppose.
I mean, I still succeed, and I think most of the time, obviously, sixes always succeed. But the way it is, I'll almost always need the 6,
Right, right.
even if I was in no tackle zones.
Also, welcome to the booth, Gark. One of these days we'll let you, or force you rather, to chime in with the microphone, but you're welcome to listen in as always.
Not until we get rid of those disgusting wood elves with 5 stat increases.
I mean, Nelphine did his damnedest in the other semifinal. Oh, Gark says he's shy. Okay.
No worries.
3 died by Jett Bender on the Strength 2 line elf. Can't do too much with it. And he takes the ball backwards. Like, how is this going to be 5-4 and everything? Like, this is not the show we were expecting.
0-0.
Dark voice. The fans voicing their displeasure at this offensive game plan by Ohio Wesleyan. Actually, Wog, on that note, also welcome to the booth. If there's any way, like, somebody in this league can type out subtitles for the next game we're doing, which is the Gallaudet and Duke game, because Surge can't listen in to the broadcast normally. Obviously, he's also playing in the game, but afterwards, I'm sure he would like to watch the video, and since, he can't hear, if there were subtitles or somebody had, like, written stuff out of what we typed, or said rather, that'd be really cool. Transcribe? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Won't Google do it for me? I don't know. Never tried.
I didn't know he couldn't hear.
Yes, I believe there's 2. I want to say Class. Yep. Class and Surge. So as much as we like doing the fluff with the videos and everything else, if they can't partake, it's certainly not as cool to them. So if there's any way we could include them, it'd be pretty awesome. It's such a shame too, because Surge and Gallaudet have had a great season at like 6-4-0, and they're the number 2 seed in the playoffs. But all these videos we've done talking about their players and their season, you can't listen to it, so it's kind of a bummer. Alright, looks like we're getting a shot on the ball here. A 1 dive from Trevon Killens. Reroll, but can't take Mr. Jett Bender down. Probably won't be the last time we hear that phrase in his college career. Wog doing some kind of monologue in the chat by himself. Just ignore him best you can. 2-die block here just moves the sidestepper, so one way or another, we've got a... Oh, he didn't have dodge, did he? He did not. Okay. That's a good knockout, but Ohio Wesleyan needs to find a way to break through the Hawaii defense and move downfield. There is an opportunity perhaps at the bottom. You can break through Caden, the strength 2 lineman. There's a sizable gap you could run downfield. Got to be careful of the blitzer in the middle with frenzy and tackle. The Swift twins, indeed. I was expecting Eldrill. I didn't really look at the numbers, but it's a very interesting selection. 2 very fine players, do different things. Plus, getting both increases your depth. Not that depth is super important in a Pro Elf mirror, one would think, but I mean, we've got one guy knocked out from both teams, or one badly hurt, rather, on the Hawaii side. Looks like Hyper's joining us in the Twitch chat, saying that the sunny weather, very nice for a Pro Elf game. I don't know if the weather has had any influence on the game plan. Both these teams have taken it a little slower than we would have liked pace-wise. Looks like Jeffro's going to be throwing some blocks in the scrum near the ball. I thought for sure he'd maybe like blitz out and go downfield with the ball, but doesn't appear to be. All right, Gark, I know you're a Pro Elf veteran of many seasons in the NBFL. Give us some tips and strategies on how to make them work, because AV7 in that league is notoriously difficult, and Pro Elves are notoriously really good at offense and much more difficult on defense. So give us some advice for the old Pro Elf wannabes out there listening.
I was like, well, Gark's typing, I can give my advice to that. To all the aspiring elf coaches out there, dodge into tackle zones, dance around the guy with tackle, stand in the tackle zones on your turn, don't dodge away. That's what they're expecting.
Or blitz right through the strength 2 lineman and give him another injury for the hell of it. That's minus MA on Caden Hilborn, the kicker apparently. Jett Bender having himself a fantastic freshman season, to say the least. But he goes backwards again.
I really don't like what like the game plan so far.
Yeah, I definitely did not expect this style of play. You're facing Pro Elves who are more advanced than you, so they're very blotched up, but one way to mitigate their advantage is just get downfield and, you know, go for 2 and 3 score touchdowns. You can't really trade blocks with them as efficiently. You do have more Mighty Blow than them, and you have caused 2 injuries to their 1 knockout, but well, for sure we'd see some touchdowns. Instead we see some skulls from Valen Swift. I mean, his brother mostly does the blocking, so maybe he's just not used to having to block somebody. Alright, looks like Gark chiming in. He likes using catchers as blitzers and bash instead of ball. So this is actually probably more out of the Gark Pro Elf playbook than you know, Hawaii's normal offense or even Jeffro's. Gark Angel notorious for being successful with Pro Elves and being relatively bashy with them too in the NBFL, which is not easy to do. Jeffer recounting his history with the Valen Twin Star players. I can see that, Gark. Having dodge in the NBFL sounds good, but when you're playing teams that have 5 and 6 tacklers, just take more fend, sidestep, wrestle. I think on Wood Elves, for example, or Dark Elves, it's better to blodge up because you have those skills built in or halfway to. You know, Wood Elf catchers have dodge. Ward answers obviously come with blodge. And Dark Elves, both the Blitzers and Witch Elves, can be blodgers after one skill. So it may make more sense. But Pro Elves, where you don't start with block or dodge, you know, obviously the Blitzers start with block, but for the most part, playing the MRT style with a bunch of random skills seems to work from time to time. Another blitz on the ball, one die attempt by Trevon Killens. Doesn't take down Jett yet again. Wog chiming in that Wood Elf catchers are losing dodge in the new rule set, and I don't think that's right. I thought they lost sprint. I can double check. Help. Speculative rosters. Wood Elves. Nope, they still have dodge. Yeah, Wood Elf catchers lose sprint, but maintain catch and dodge. Alright, turn 4 for Ohio. We still haven't really moved the ball past midfield. It's probably the last thing I expected out of this game. They do have 2 casualties, though. And they're starting what appears to be their advanced downfield. Copy that link from Gark. Get a nice blitz on on the blitzer by the other Swift brother, Lucian. Jett makes his way downfield now. He's got some guys in front of him. Might send Rush Bender up the field up the top, but instead he brings the guard around, so it's not a bad play either. Blaze dodging away. He can either finish the cage at the bottom, cut off the backside pursuit, or tag somebody else perhaps. Who is Jaffro? Come on, Wog.
Having some typing difficulties, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, the A and the E are, like, kind of close together, I guess. He has super fat fingers. Well, I mean, that might help in some parts of your life, but we'll see what Hawaii can do here. Bringing the guard around. Fails the GFI, then fails it again with the reroll. Unfortunate. Might have been a good play too if you could have tagged the other two players. Well, I guess you only tagged the lineman, but you had a 1-die on rush, move him out the way, then you get another shot on the ball, but Papajar making a pretty awful joke, but still. Might we see a touchdown finally in this game where we were hoping for like a 5-4 kind of score?
I thought like the move that that Apple would have went for was like pushing Rush Bender and then going with the two dice like 2D against with the strip baller.
I think he was gonna try to do that. Well,
I don't think he needed like to do that GFI basically with that guy. He could have gotten the assist, you know, just by putting another guy in front.
Perhaps.
Or maybe maybe he was blocking himself with the assist.
Either way, his plan didn't work out, and now Jeffro has a free path to the end zone, or stall opportunity.
Well, at this point, it seems that he's gonna stall because he hasn't been in a hurry to score. And I think the worst thing you can do with stalling is doing it halfway. You know.
True. Indeed, he does stop short of the end zone. And he is pretty much out of range of the Pro Outs. One of the fans not happy, but we'll have to live with it, I suppose. Before the turn is over, looks like we'll get a 2-die on Mr. Jason Matthew Sharsh with the Mighty Blow Lucian Swift, but can't take him down. Yeah, if somebody bet on the under for this game, they're going to get a boatload of cash. And we get a foul. We get a knockout, but you're caught on the attempt. And the ref tosses that player for the rest of the game. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Hawaii still putting up a defensive effort. They've now tagged the ball, tagged catcher. Might tag, well, he's a little short on movement. We'll see what Jeffro decides to do. He still has one free player. Lucian's over here pretty free. 3 guys who are free. Down at the bottom. You could almost blitz your way through the center. That guy in the middle of the logo, and then move your other forces here and build some sort of cage or screen. Could walk into the end zone. Give yourself 2 turns to score on defense, potentially. Suppose I can mention that we also have not 1, but 2 more bowl games after this one tonight, all back to back to back, so a triple header. We start with the Wonderbra Bowl, continue with the second BCS playoff semifinal, and then end the night with the Waffle House Salty Tears Bowl. So that one's Illinois Valley Chaos Team versus the Slan of Miami, Ohio Ballhawks. The big headliner, of course, is the semifinal between number 2 Galduet and number 3 Duke, so that should be a much bassier game than this one, although the pace seems to be similar. You guys have any thoughts or predictions or hopes and dreams for the next game?
Next one is the national title or the semifinal. You said.
Correct.
That's a rough one. I think Duke might take it. That Duke are the Lizardmen, right?
Correct.
Nothing against everyone else, but I know Duke's got that solid squad, and Lizardmen are always a nightmare. Movement, hitting. Oof.
But you know he's playing Chaos Dwarves, right? And their Bull Centaurs
Yes.
are ridiculous.
Oh, I get they're ridiculous, but
Okay.
there's a difference there. I mean, even if you had 2 Legend Bull Centaurs, that's 2 players on a roster of 11.
Mathematically, yes.
Duke can match that with up to, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the Lizardman coach here, up to 6 Sorai plus a Croxagore.
Last time I checked, a Saurus and a Bull Centaur aren't quite in the same league. I mean, yes, they're both base 6 movement, strength 4, AV 9, but that's where the similarities end.
Yes, I know there are skill differences, but a lot of the times I feel an advantage for Chaos Dwarf coaches that if that Bull Centaur breaks free, you only have 1 safety left. Oh no, it's a strength 3, you're throwing dice uphill. That's not the case if you get a Sorai playing safety. It's going to be a 1-die block. Yeah, granted, block, dodge, all that stuff does also apply. I'm just generically, stating.
Perhaps true. I know that if the Chaos Dwarves get the ball first and are able to remove a Sorai or 2 or the Crocs, and things start to snowball for them in a good way, it could certainly be an advantageous situation. Kind of like how Ohio Wesleyan has the ball where they want it, Hawaii not able to do much. Hyper chiming in that the Dwarves are the problem, usually not the Bull Centaurs. He's also a Lizard coach. In fact, he says the Bull Centaurs are just gravy.
My impression is that, technically it's a rebuilding year for Duke, so it's like his Saurus are not as skilled as you'd want him to be for the playoffs, and the dwarves can eat alive the skinks pretty much. So it could be an uphill battle for them.
True. And the dwarves can be a problem, responding to the point you mentioned. But if you take out the Bull Centaurs, what do you have? A dwarf team that's not as good as a dwarf team. Because you have the Hobgoblins back there, which are,
Yeah, terrible.
Good
Yeah,
at fouling.
I don't think anyone's scared of a Hobgoblin, honestly.
Only if he has Dirty Player.
Maybe Halflings would be afraid of them.
Alright, just taking a look at the rosters. Galduit did lose some blockers late in the season, but they still have a Mighty Blow Claw Frenzy player, a Guard, a Claw Mighty Blow, a Guard Mighty Blow, and then 2 regular rookie dwarf blockers. 1 Dirty Hob, a plus Strength, plus MA Block Break Tackle Bull, a plus AG, plus MA Block Dodge, plus AG Bull. Duke counters with a block Mighty Blow, a rookie, a block Mighty Blow Tackle Break Tackle, a block Mighty Blow, and a block Guard for their Sorai. Crocs has Guard Stand Firm. And of course, Knob Carson, the AG Sidestep, plus Strength, Sure Feet, Block Skink. So, it's not that the game's going to come down to Knob making plays versus the Bull Centaurs making plays when it matters, but that's a huge part of it. And yes, Wog is correct. That is the 3rd season for Galduet, so their team will be back next season. Not to mention Fayetteville.
I'm predicting a battle of stats freak for the final, but
Hawaii gave up their turn 7.
That they did.
Unless that was accidental.
No, probably realized he wouldn't have a decent shot at it. I mean, he has some re-rolls and he has some players nearby, but chose not to go for it. And gets a player knocked out for his troubles. So Jett Bender with the touchdown. Finally, it is only 1-0, but still a half a turn left for Hawaii to potentially do something. They have 10. 2 players stay KO'd. Pardon me. Ohio Wesleyan pretty much has their entire roster available. Just one guy banned by the ref. Yeah, the strip baller was nearby. The frenzy blitzer was there if you really wanted to be ballsy and try to surf. Well, I guess surfing the ball wouldn't help. You just push him into the end zone. Probably best just to take the shot. You did have the re-rolls, and you need to do everything you can to try to win. But regardless, Hawaii's going to regroup. At worst, be down 1-0 at the half, most likely. Then they'll get the ball. There is overtime, so if you wanted to drag it out to 1-1 going to overtime, you could. I don't expect Hawaii to do that. But then again, I didn't expect Ohio Wesleyan to do an 8-turn kind of grind either. Let's see what defense Jeffro has. He's kind of split his line of scrimmage. He's got the double stack behind everybody, spaced out nicely. Hawaii perhaps can one turn. They don't have any plus movement, but they have movement 8. They have a frenzy piece, and they've got the best thrower in the nation, so certainly have the tools. Semifinal is supposed to be at the hour. I might contact Kazarik and Surge and see if they can push that off. Looks like Surge has joined us in the game chat, so welcome to you. Coach of the Gallaudet Deaf Bulls, hoping to win tonight and face Gark's Fayetteville Wood Elves in the championship game. Although it sounds like most people in this chat are just assuming Duke's going to win. We'll see what Apajar can do here for his one-turn attempt.
I'm not super impressed with Jeffro's setup.
You don't like?
I mean, that catcher is gonna move like diagonally 3 square, and like he's gonna be one 2+ dodge away from the end zone, right?
If all goes according to plan, of course.
I think like you need to have the second line like a square north, you know?
Yeah, I think if you shift both backlines up a square, that might not be a bad idea. That doesn't make it easy. now he's not going for it. I think the initial block on Trip, he really needed to move that guy and knock him down to get the frenzy in there. But because he got it both down and kept him there, that would have been a difficult dodge, albeit one you probably need to make. It is a bowl game. Albeit it's only the first half. I mean, that sounds good, Wog, having like a, one-turn threat who's plus movement, dodge, sidestep. But if you have base movement 8 and a really good thrower like that, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to chain push one turn. If he stops and types something about Zach Daniel getting more career passing yards, blah, 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 blah. Ugh. Enough about your records.
We're gonna erase the record books.
Safe throw actually came into effect there. That would have been an interception. Thanks to the catch reroll. But instead, Mr. Daniels adds to his passing yardage records, perhaps shallowly. I mean, we might need to go back and check the tape because it seems like this passing record is just a bit hollow, just like that foul. I mean, sure, you added like, 15 passing yards or something right there? Let's see. 10. But you didn't, try the one turn. What does that really do for you? Regardless, it is now the second half. 1-0 lead for Ohio Wesleyan. They'll be on defense, so I expect them to apply the pressure. Hawaii will counter with their wide open passing offense, but they only have 10 to work with.
Yeah, the Bloodweiser babes haven't done their job.
Nope, they're trying, but can't quite get Mr. Ely and Mr. Arias to wake up. The two coaches exchanging information about some alcoholic beverage. Apparently Nico sent one to Jeffro that's 38% alcohol, and perhaps that's the beer that the KO players were partaking in, and hence why they haven't come back yet. Also, is it just me, or is there one extra player out there on defense?
Yeah, there might be one too many.
I'm not good at math, but I was like, let's see, 4, 4, 3, and 1. That's one too many. Now, if his dirty trick happens to be a legal substitution, we might see that 12th person make it back on the field, but right now, someone's got to go.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Ogre team with their Snotlings used to have a rule that more than 11 could be on the field? They were too small and too fast, quickly moving for the ref to count accurately.
That doesn't ring a bell. I know in the new rule book, and Wog's talking about it, there's something called like a swarm, which can let you have more than 11 on the field. I think only a few select teams are going to have it. Underworld, of course. Sneaky little bastards. Snotlings. Hyper chiming in that Snotlings are the only ones that will have it. And I think snotlings are the little creature that counts as a swarm, so... Yeah, snotlings are the ones that can creep onto the field. How much help they're going to be, I don't know, but I suppose that's a decent fouling piece, right? Looks like Kazark is down to delay the semifinal start a little bit. We'll see if these two can hurry it up. Wouldn't expect a Perov Mirror to be 46 minutes into the game and only be at the half. Nor for it to only be 1-0, but here we are. Do snotlings even provide assists? I mean, if you're like a human Lino versus an orc Lino and you just watch this little like snotling come up, are you really concerned? Well, I know, Wog, there's a player skill that makes it so you don't have a tackle zone. I think it's like little twitchy players that are strength 1, they don't apply tackle zones, so I thought perhaps maybe a little snotling wouldn't provide assists or something.
They do have a tackle zone. It's just that if they don't apply the minus if you dodge
is that what
into it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Would I be concerned if a chihuahua bit my leg? I suppose. That's a valid point. Perfect defense rolled by Ohio Wesleyan on the kickoff, so now they're going to match up across the board, it looks like. I do like the 2x2 box we have up top with literally all 4 pro blitzers in it staring at each other.
Yeah, that's not a positioning you're going to see often.
No.
They're doing the full court press, you know?
Yeah, pretty standard for Jeffro's playstyle. He wants to get into your backfield and cause as much chaos and mayhem, and you look around, all of a sudden the ball's gone and in the end zone. See what Hawaii does the counter. There's probably not a really good block available anywhere. You've got a sidestepper at the bottom. You've got guard in the middle. Guard up top. So does he try to one-die somebody? Does he move the catcher up top for another assist? Apajar lamenting that he labeled the guard, but chose to ignore it when setting up his plane for the turn. I believe we've all done that at least once or twice. It's impossible for Gark to do that because Gark apparently doesn't label anybody. Alright. We'll get a 1-die on the blitzer at the top, but you only get a push. Indeed, Gark, you would probably play so much better if you actually knew what skills the players you were blitzing and blocking had. I think there was twice in the semifinal game the other day where you ended up doing a 1-die blitz on something and we're just like, what the hell is this guy doing? There's a 1-die block that results in a POW, so pretty good play there by the lineman. Yeah, he does seem to be kind of jammed up there, doesn't he? Can't burn a reroll this early, so decides to let that one go. He does have the ball. Nobody in scoring position, thanks to perfect defense and this base the line strategy. We'll see what Jeffro can do here. I don't expect any kind of surf since the two closest players do have sidestep. Yeah, Gark, I have to agree. Jeffro's in a pretty strong position right now. It's not quite dominant, but if he gets a really good turn here, he could put himself in one, potentially. But yeah, Tusok's right. You can overcommit here easily and just watch Mr. Zach Daniels chuck one 20 yards over your head downfield. And as we all know, Pro Elf catchers have nerves of steel, so even if he's triple or quadruple covered, the pass can get in there. Never know, maybe Brett Favre used to play Blood Bowl and he was like a Pro Elf coach and he just assumed all of his real life receivers had nerves of steel. That's why he always threw the ball into triple coverage. Garbage ass quarterback, but whatever. Alright, now Jeffro's got two catchers deep downfield. One with dodge, one with blodge step, so Mr. Daniels is going to have to make a move and soon. But who's he going to have available?
I think it was too risky to pick a fight with the blitzers. You should have focused on the linemen that would have fallen easily.
Yeah, both of Jeffro's blitzers don't have tackle, and both yours have dodge. So if you wanted to, you probably
he
could have swung
gotten out of there,
somewhere. Yeah, I think in his head it would have gone better, and then he forgot about the guard player that he marked, so his plan didn't really go as well as he wanted. But Jeffro unable to move Apajar's blitzer as well. This is tricky. If you use the diving tackle, you should be able to end his turn, but I'm not sure that really helps you a whole lot.
It's not too bad.
No. If you can get your guard player forward, you can two-die Lucian, but then the blitzer is kind of blocking your path. Yeah, you don't have a lot of great options here. Here's the long pass. Oh no. Oh wow. Fails the catch with the catcher roll, but it scatters right to his other player. So the turn continues.
That's nice.
That's fortunate.
Does that count towards his passing record since it wasn't the designated receiver?
As far as I know, no. Gark disagreeing, and apparently that's 11 more passing yards, so I am wrong. That does somehow count as a passing yards. Interesting. Does it count as a completion? And it counts as a completion. What? Alright, here's a blitz by Mr. Killens, breaking through the defense and staying put. Okay. So you're going to mark the catcher with your tackle, diving tackle, then hope to dodge through with your blitzer and catcher. Okay, that makes sense, I suppose. Oh, he's going to hand off? Oh, it's a dump-off player. I mean, you've already seen this player fail a catch this turn. Doesn't this time, but it's interesting. I don't know if that's better or not than just having the ball in the blitzer's hands.
God, this offense.
A little different than the Kemry one, huh? Service chiming in that Mr. Daniels just passed Dust Dancer, which is his throwing blitzer on his U-Pipe team for either completions or passing yards. But again, I'm not sure how that counts as a completion when the intended target dropped the ball.
It's the immaculate reception.
Which is also bullshit, because all film evidence of any different angle than the one you ever see has been deleted by the Steelers. Like they found the old tape reels and burned them in a big fire. I mean, I suppose if you threw a pass in real life and it bounced off somebody and somebody else caught it, it would count as a completion. So, I mean, I guess. But yes, Hawaii. Go ahead.
How hilarious would that be if, as a record breaker, it's like, you know, you needed so many yards, you need 10 yards to pass the all-time passing list. It deflects and someone else catches it and goes 15.
Classic. Gark's
and I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, I do give a lot of crap to offense, but I believe one of my players did win Offensive Player of the Year, like season 6 or 7.
That doesn't sound right.
Look at the history of the award.
I'll have somebody else do it for me. But Hawaii in a much better position now than they were in the last turn. We'll see if Jeffro can make a play on the ball, or perhaps Hawaii can finally get something going on offense. Here comes our blitz. Here comes the dump off. There's the catch. It's possible he did mark it WOG and there's just really nothing he can do about it. There's no point in not hitting the ball, I suppose. He could always fail to pass or fail to catch.
Especially because he was in 3 tackle zones.
Well, the pass wouldn't get modified because he has Nerves of Steel.
I thought that was only for catching, not passing.
It's both, but it's not picking up. That's what Big Hand is for example. Which, unfortunately, is probably one of like the least taken mutations. And it's just kind of cool.
I remember.
Go ahead.
In LRB4, it was something really ridiculous.
All right, we get a touchdown by Hawaii as they accommodate their own Hawaii rules, which states they have to pass the ball into the end zone if possible.
That's...
Perhaps
he went end-to-end in 2 turns. That's ridiculous.
Kemry can go end-to-end in 2 turns too. You just have to roll 6s mostly. One to one now, turn 3 of the second half of the Wonderbra Wonder Bowl. Hawaii on defense again. They had 2 shots in the ball in the first half, couldn't quite get the ball carrier down on one-die blocks with tackle, but held on to kind of force the issue through 5 turns, and then eventually Ohio Wesleyan broke through and got behind him. We'll see if their defensive effort can produce better results this time. And indeed, Hawaii moving 1 column closer than they were previously, so perhaps they realize that now's the time to make a play. Also love the fact that there's 11 people spectating this game.
Is that the record?
Probably not off the top of my head, but certainly something you would see. Like last night, for example, there were 2 NBFL games going at the same time, and they both had 7 or more. So 11's pretty good just for a random NCBB bowl game.
I want to
Granted,
say,
could be all 11 NCBB coaches, but go ahead.
to my recollection, the TCU Navy game only had, what, 10 people watching?
Maybe, but we were giving commentary, and it was so good that we have it recorded forever now on YouTube. Apajar claiming victory because he has a large edge in passing yards, despite the glare of the sun.
That reminds me of, have you ever watched Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
I am bleeding, therefore I am the winner.
Yep, that does not ring a bell. Sounds like something a corn player would say, though. Correct, Gark. Any of the better Twitch streams that we have for the videos, if the coach requests it or it's just a damn good game, I'll put it on YouTube for all of eternity. Otherwise, the videos get deleted from Twitch after like 20 or 30 days. The ones off the top of my head that I have recorded are the Super Bowl from this past season. There's 2 TCU games. One from like 4 seasons ago against Mr. Nomad's East Carolina team, where freshman just getting his shit kicked in has to throw the ball deep to a rat ogre who catches it and eventually scores and ends up winning the game 3-2. So that was a hell of a game. There's another one of his games versus Ball State that was kind of like a 1-to-1 grind. I'll link my YouTube channel in the chat hyper for you. And then I know there's 1 or 2 more that I saved as well. There's also many other just gaming videos from me and my friends and Monster Hunter, Destiny, bunch of others. So that should be my YouTube channel. I do have it sorted into playlists. So for Fumble, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. TCU versus East Carolina, TCU versus Miami, the season 32 national championship, TCU versus Ball State, I'm sensing a theme here, Cattle versus New York, the NBFL Super Bowl, and then TCU versus Navy from this past season, which might be the best one of them all. I need to save the Fayetteville versus Ottawa game from a couple days ago, the semifinal. It was too good to, waste.
By the way, when you upload them to YouTube, it generates subtitles automatically.
Okay.
They're not always accurate.
They might not be great, but like it might be kind of like the simplest way to have our friends read what's get said.
Okay. I'll take a look at that then. Looks like Ohio Wesleyan has more of a spread offense in mind this time, but no one's gone super deep downfield, which is a travesty. And I imagine that was a fun game for you, Garp, but it was also probably very hectic. I mean, the first half, after you got the early touchdown off the blitz, I mean, you couldn't do much. Ottawa had so many people on the field, and they were screening off their cage, and they were just punching you off the field a turn, and it didn't look very good for you about turn 6. And assuming Jett stays put, we're not going to have an elf in scoring range, and this is definitely not going to be the kind of game we anticipated.
I guess the strategy is that he wants to force Apo to play defense,
True, and as good of a season Hawaii has had, and they're a very solid program over the past couple seasons, they just don't have a lot of defensive skills. They're very blodge heavy. There's a strip baller. There's a frenzy tackler. There's a couple guard, but not a single wrestle to my knowledge. You know, no one is leap. Only the 2 sidesteppers that are built in, and that's a 1-die block where he probably didn't mean to do it. I'm hoping, at least.
Apo isn't seeing any G's this game.
Seems that way. Maybe you just need to redo your strategy on marking players, and instead of just doing a capital G, just type out guard, like all 5 letters in caps. Maybe he'll see it.
I know it's limited, but you can also put "Don't block next to this guy."
True. Alright, that's Hawaii's defensive turn. We'll see what Jeffro decides to do, whether he tries to play it slow or picks up the pace a little bit. Ideally, at this point, I guess you're trying to score on turn 8 and just win the game. As much as I would like more room to mark players, Gark, I'm just not sure it's possible. Also, you don't even mark players, so what's the point? Also, just a tip, if anybody uses the test mode where you can do practice games between any 2 roster, you have to use 2 different ones, you can't use the same one twice, you can actually see what the other person's markings are when it loads up the team. So for example, if I loaded up Wichington or Fayetteville and we saw that Gark had a bunch of markings, we'd all be surprised, but I'm expecting it to be very, very blank. Wait, Gark, do you mark your own team and not the other team, or do you just not mark? Okay, so your team has markings. Okay, that's, I guess that makes sense. Okay, Gark, so what stands out to you? Like, what needs to be marked on other teams then? Guard. Okay, makes sense. Diving tackle. Good one. Tackle. Makes sense. Agility. Oh no, Tusak is one of those guys who uses symbols for skill combinations. Just like Menno. Frenzy, leap, yeah. I really want him just to swing the catcher at the bottom down and go into scoring range, but I just doesn't feel like he's going to. He's going to move that guy back 2 squares. Tusak, I'm not sure that one makes any sense. Because what happens if a player only has block and tackle? Or blodge and sidestep?
That's usually for me B, SS.
Yeah, I think Gark's makes more sense. You have a symbol for blodge, and then you add on something for tackle or sidestep or something. Although blodge... Go ahead.
Sorry, I just do the abbreviations. B, T, SS for sidestep, G for guard. I could do MA or something like that for movement and all that stuff.
I think using 2 symbols for movement's probably overkill, especially on like players that have 5, 6 abilities. What would be dodge, tackle, strip, tail? Okay, I'm not going to mark kick. Mesh. Okay, so something like that. Dodge, strip ball, tackle, prehensile tail. It has so many symbols that I'm just forced to look at that player every time I consider blocking him or anything else. Well, I'm sorry, Wolves. He's got 6 skills. What do you want me to do? Also, dodge, shadowing, tense, pass blocked. Okay, that's too many weird things. I'm just gonna mark him as triple question mark because, like, what the hell kind of player is that?
Like sometimes you can just like mark like what makes a guy different, you know, like so it's like if all the blitzers have blodge but one of them has tackle, you just put tackle on the one that has tackle and
Right.
the rest you can remember or look at, you know, if
Hope to remember that they all had blodge. And I mean, there's some players who you should probably just have memorized, so you just call them like Joe or Broadnax or whatever the case is.
In the case of that 6 skilled character, pain in the ass.
SOB, something like that. I suppose OTS makes sense for that guy, or do not fail a pickup because he will grab the ball from anywhere. I'm not sure that one would fit though. I put L in for loner. I'm getting a blitz here by Jett Bender. Nice little chain push too. We're going to move the blitzer up. Okay. See what Jeffro decides to do with the ball. Mr. Valen's relatively safe if he moves back a bit, but looks like he might move the ball forward to Jett. Got a nice little screen going up here. Yeah, Tucson. Big Nurgle teams are difficult because half of them have tents and diving tackle, and then you want to remind yourself that they have foul appearance and disturbing presence, but 5 of them have it automatically, and Nurgle are a pain. Probably don't want to throw the block on the catcher even if it's a 2-die, so he's going to dodge away. Cage looks like it's pretty secure here. Apajar may want to get out in front and double stack columns in front of the cage, but doesn't look like he's going to get a good shot on the ball anytime soon. Yeah, Garg, actually there was a turn last night where I moved a player in front of a downed dwarf because he was agility 4 and I didn't want him to dodge into my ball carrier on a 3. But I forgot he was marked with diving tackle by my frog, and I forgot that my own player had diving tackle, so I understand that completely. Why Why would you not use a lowercase g for grab if you're using capital G for guard? Hyper understands. There was a game where I played, I want to say UTEP this season, who's a Nurgle team in my conference, and I sat there for like a minute trying to plan out what I wanted to do, push some guys away, and then move the ball like 10 squares to hand off to a skink. And then as he failed the catch, and I was like, why did he fail the catch? Why was it a 5+? Oh, right, there's 3 Disturbing Presence players right around him. I'm like, God damn it. Also, I still think it's dumb that Disturbing Presence works when a player's on the ground. That doesn't make any sense.
Does to me. They're still ugly looking.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
They don't stop being ugly when they're on the ground.
But you don't have to look at them eye level.
Maybe they're more disturbing, you know, when viewed from above. You never know.
There's also a smell, you know.
That's what the foul appearance is for. Hyper says, "Oh, so scary, lying there bleeding on the ground." That's a good block there by a no-skill catcher. Gets the block, well, the POW on the block. And gets the injury.
Oh.
We'll see the team doctor run out there, I imagine.
AV or AG? Oof.
That's a toughie. I would go with the AG. Just use him as your line of scrimmage guard piece. I think Hyper has the right idea. It should only be adjacent square if they're down on the ground. And yeah, you could replace him Garg. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming he doesn't have a ton of cash, and you want to keep your numbers up, especially as you move into a BCS conference. But short term, I think the AG is better than the AV. But looks like Jeffro goes the other way, takes the AV.
He did say he's not coming back to campus.
Ah, fair enough. So he's already got his future planned out without him. Now, to be fair, I have a SLA Black Art team, which has 4 AV8 Dark Elves among a team that's AV7 otherwise. And I took minus AV on 2 of those guys, unfortunately, and I still find them useful, but it is quite frustrating to have the... Oh, okay, well, this has turned quickly.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Not only did Mark Bender get a perm this turn, his teammate Rush Bender did as well. Minus strength. So 2 guard players for Ohio Wesleyan all of a sudden just permed and probably not returning. That's terrible for this team as they try to move up into the BCS. So earlier in the game, Apijar couldn't remember what the G stood for. He twice one-died.
That's one way to fix it.
Yeah, just now he's like, okay, aim for the G's instead of aiming for the guy next to the G. Still, though, Jeffro in a pretty decent spot to maybe win this game. He's got a strength 4 ball carrier with the ball in his hands, but he's marked by tackle, diving, tackle. Can't score this turn unless he somehow managed to chain push, dash, or lance. They're all named Bender, so saying the last name wouldn't help. What can he do? It's a sidestepper down there. That's a blodger, that's a blodger. 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 Eh. No Gark, not yet. We haven't had our deliberations, we'll call them, yet.
I heard those deliberations are quite contentious sometimes.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
I think it should be, you know, put on NCBB TV. Can't miss.
True. You ever seen like those trash reality TV shows where they like bring the people together afterwards and they just argue for like 45 minutes about stupid shit that happened? It's pretty much that.
That's what we do in the league anyway.
We're all arguing over what teams we want. Like, we'll roll for the order and then draft a team or two. But then it's like, well, your conference sucks. It needs to have, like, this team added to it. It's like, well, your conference has all the elves. And then, like, people start talking shit, and then it gets personal, and then it's like, whoa. Guys. Come on. Navy's not that bad.
Sounds like great entertainment.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
If you had it where people could listen in but couldn't say anything, just had to listen.
Right, I could stream the Discord channel as we do it. I mean, it's a little hard to follow along because we're all just going to be typing like constant back and forth, but and I mean, do you guys really want to know what we think about each and all of your teams and you as coaches? Because you're not going to like it.
I don't care. I know everyone hates Navy.
It's not that we hate Navy. I don't have a follow-up to that. Not the role he was looking for there, but avoids the turnover with the reroll.
I was gonna say, are conferences completely redrafted every season, or do you keep the existing members and only dish out the new guys?
For the most part, we keep them together. Last season, we had to move a few teams around, Florida State and UCSD, for example, and then we had to move a few more for rivalry purposes because Wisconsin and Ottawa all of a sudden had a rivalry, but we needed Wisconsin to play Duke and then all this other stuff, so we tried to keep them together at least. Because that way, Zedorog's here now. We want his Kark University to play Navy and TCU pretty much every season, just kind of build up those rivalries.
Well, we technically don't have a rivalry with Navy.
But you have history with them, and that's important too.
History with them, yeah.
It's a friendly rivalry.
Yeah.
We could tell you guys had basically a pillow fight when you played late in the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so Jeffro moving the ball down a little bit to back to midfield. Pretty much has it secure, it looks like, barring any interesting moves here. For example, you could try to chain somebody into your blitzer and then he gets a shot on the ball. Wouldn't be easy to pull off, I suppose. I don't know, Gark, you better be careful what you wish for, because Baz and his Bretonians, they're kind of scary all of a sudden. He's won like 5 in a row, or like I think he said he's held like the last 5 or 6 opponents scoreless. He's got a 2-die. Okay, so he's going to swing around with Melik. He just got to tag Lance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9's your shot on the ball, but he is a blodger. He's sidestepping, so you can't push him like into your blitzer. I mean, Jeffro could do it for you, but he probably wouldn't.
If you go, oh wait, sidestep doesn't matter.
Yep.
I was gonna say you could try to set it up for 2 cracks at him, but
2, 3, 4,
sidestep's so
5, 6,
annoying.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, you could GFI push him into that, but alas, not with sidestep. So I think first you throw some blocks up top. You could block with a blitzer, for example. It's a 2-die and still stay put on Jett with her tackle, diving tackle. But you want to leave somebody back since it's your turn 7 as a deep safety. Because Ark's saying Mr. Kai Kaneshiro, for example, would be a good safety with strip ball. Not a bad idea. Looks like Apajar is taking the time to survey the field. You do have 3 rerolls, so you can use it this turn and next if you have to. You like to have some for overtime if possible. If
like
you get overtime.
I would focus on like trying to make it hard for him to get guys in scoring range next turn, right?
Okay. So you're gonna still do the 2 die on the ball, or no?
Like I wouldn't try to blitz here.
Okay, looks like we get a chain push here, so what's he gonna do with it? Because you're automatically gonna frenzy and block off that square. So you can push Mr. Daniel away, for example, but you do that instead. Which kind of takes away his shot on the ball, unless you want to do a 3. But you don't have to take a shot on the ball here. You can keep your strip ball back.
You could go for that 2 die on Chase and try to plug up that gap. Make him spend another turn. Make him spend another turn stretching the field wider.
He is a blodge stepper, though.
Oh, it's not ideal, obviously.
Goes for the 3 die. Well, sorry, the 3 plus dodge, 2 die on the ball. Uses reroll, but can't get a POW, so we'll see where Jeffro goes with it. Probably away from the tackle, so I'm guessing north. Well, that's a blodger there. I mean, there's a blodger every direction, so pick your poison.
For an elf game, I've been very entertained by this match.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten, what, 4, 5 casualties? Which is a lot more than we thought. I think that's more casualties than we had in the Chainsaw Bowl, honestly. Welcome, Dash.
Yeah, I had 4, but Molson had only 0.
Yeah.
EV9, man, it's hard to break.
Especially when your Chainsaw hurts himself when they gets fouled 2 turns later. Alright, so Apajar couldn't get the ball down. Jeffro backs up a square, but he's got to get within scoring range on this turn. Doesn't keep anybody kind of back in the middle. I mean, he's not too overcommitted, but if Jeffro somehow breaks free at the bottom, or somehow gets through up top, we'll see if that comes into play. Wow, this game has really run long. It's an hour and a half. Jeffro will have the ball last, so there won't be a final turn, 1-turn score attempt, but could be overtime, which would push our bowl game back into the other bowl game.
Do we have provisions so like what happened to the NHL doesn't happen here?
Like that 5 overtime game? Yes. There's only 1 overtime, thankfully. If nobody manages or wants to or is able to win in the overtime period, it goes to the coin flip, in which case your extra rerolls get added to your roll.
That's rough. I lost to BYU. I lost a bowl game to BYU like that. Thought we had switched to something else.
I think I may have too. It's actually how I lost my first round FC game last year. I entered a team on a whim. I just threw together a rookie Norse team, planned to ride inducements as long as I could, and then lost in the first round because couldn't get it done in overtime. And then I decided to use a reroll on a catch or something to try to win the game. So he won by like a 3-2 roll on the after overtime roll.
But no, I was like, I'd like to see a non-ending overtime game.
In Blood Bowl, it as they're saying in the game chat, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. Bash teams would have too much of an advantage.
Then it's on the elf teams to, get elfy and score.
I suppose that's true. Looks like Jeffro has the ball in scoring range with the blodger, unless he trips on this GFI, which he does with the reroll.
And he pushed Apple's player in scoring range, right?
Yep, there's Mr. Jason Matthew Sharsh, who was blitzed by Jeffro into scoring range on the last turn.
Oh.
Not exactly how you drew it up. Let's see. It won't be easy to get Mr. Daniels over there. You're going to need to blitz Valen. Then I suppose he's AG5 dodge, not marked by tackle. So you need to mark. Okay, you blitz the guy who's in scoring range, but you can't take him down. That's bad. Let's see. Zach's
Remove
1,
tackle
2,
zones.
3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, he can get there pretty easily, I suppose. Looking at it further.
9 over 3 up. I
You
think
don't
that's
need to
not
throw
wrong,
that
Bob.
block. I guess the question is, do you just try to straight up throw it to him with Daniels, or do you throw it to somebody else and then hand off to him? But it looks like he's going to mark his own player on accident. No.
April's not
man.
had the best game so far.
Well, I mean, that guy, like, is very likely to take down the catcher on 4 die, but can't get it done. Mr. Daniels does get it done with the pass, though. This one not hollow, unlike the end of the first half. Jason Matthew Sharsh catches the ball. Can he be the hero that Hawaii needs? No.
Oh.
Yes. No! He fails too! Oh my god. What a turn of events in the Wonderbra Bowl.
Hey, XCon, I gotta say, I appreciate you raising that part of the field 1 inch just to throw people off.
It's like that Buffalo Wild Wings commercial where the field janitor or field guy goes into the back room of the computer and puts on the sprinklers to trip all the players to make the game go longer.
Even Jeffro saying whose pitch is this?
Oh man. Tusock saying he can chain the catcher back. That's true. I suppose Blaze can technically reach the ball, but that'd be a hell of a throw. You have no rerolls though, so I mean you have nothing to lose. Not like you can burn your last reroll on accident. I think you can chuck it from goal line to midfield.
Yeah, 13 squares is the max, unless you have Hail Mary pass.
Kazark says you should probably read the rules. I mean, it's possible. Do you think he's going to see it? He's going to have to get... well, looks like he's going to go for the block instead. Which, I mean, to be fair, the odds of it working are... I mean, you have to push the guy, double GFI, pick it up, throw it to somebody in midfield. He's got to go hand it off to a guy who's in double coverage, and then you have to, like, 3+, 2+ dodge. I mean, sure, you can take the odds anyway if you're Fayetteville and you have all those stat freaks. I'm not sure if an average elf team can do it.
It might be one of those situations where... Oh, guess he's going for the overtime.
We're going for the overtime.
I
True.
was going to say, it's one of those things, if it's to win the game, any number of odds is fine.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, again,
Gark,
didn't. We're assuming he didn't see it, but
yeah. Gark, I disagree. I don't take those odds as Kemri. Basically, in that situation, I go, a tie it is.
Actually, I almost lost an SLA game against basically a Kemri variant. It's one of the skeleton teams that has like Ushapti as their big guy. They have different skeletons, but similar concept to Kemri with a bunch of skeleton guys. And they needed to basically take the ball the entire distance in one turn. I had punted it all the way from midfield to like column 3 on their side, and a guy went back and grabbed it after they pitch cleared me, threw it to somebody in midfield. He went over and handed it off, or attempted to hand it off to somebody on column 6, and that skeleton, of course, had never seen a ball before and dropped it. But it is possible. Those bags of bones can be surprisingly athletic if you give them the chance. So overtime it is in the Wonderbra Bowl, 1-1 between Ohio Wesleyan and Hawaii. Hawaii does get the ball. They do have one reroll. They do have the nation's leading passer in yardage and completions in Zach Daniel, who attempted to be the hero at the end of the game, but his catcher decided to trip on the goal line as is custom. It looks like we can get the double, maybe triple catcher sent downfield, try to win this game immediately.
Is this sudden death one turn, or do you still go through a full half or two halves?
Sudden death. We're not doing what real college does, where they're like, oh, start with the ball at the 35-yard line, just score 4 touchdowns and 4 overtimes. Like, nah. First one, or yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of those. One of my favorite games was a college game between number 1 LSU and like unranked Arkansas when Darren McFadden was there on Thanksgiving night, and that game went into like 5 or 7 overtimes. They literally ran the Wildcat with Darren McFadden as their base offense for half the game and pulled off an upset over the number 1 team in the nation. But 2007 was a crazy year for college football, where every top 5 team lost twice.
NFL has like semi-sudden death. Touchdowns will win it immediatally.
Mm-hmm.
If the first team that receives it kicks a field goal,
the other team gets the ball.
The other team gets the ball back, and if they can also kick a field goal to keep it going,
or score a touchdown
to flat out win it.
Right.
If they both kick a field goal, then it goes to full sudden death.
Or if neither team scores on their first possession.
Yeah. So other than that, you have.
Okay, interesting. We just got a pitch invasion. Mr. Daniels is down. Mr. Ely's down. Mr. Penne's down. We do have a player in scoring position. You do have several elves near the ball, but if this game has taught us anything, this is probably going to be a snaked pickup, and you're going to have to use the last reroll. You're going to fail it. It's going to go into the crowd and go to Jeffro's side of the field, because that's just how this game is going. Jeffro claiming the band is on the field. Fun fact of trivia, the band is on the field play between Cal and Stanford from 1982 or whatever. Because Cal ended up winning that game, John Elway never went to a bowl in college. Stanford was a shitty program, and he needed to win that game to be bowl eligible his senior season. But because of the band being on the field, among other things, John Elway did not win that game and thus never went to a bowl at college. In college. Went to a couple bowls in the pros, though. First 3 didn't go so well. Next 2 did. Get a 6 on the pickup. Mr. Sharsh might move down the field. He's got 2 dump-off targets. I think Solo's out of range. But Stovall and Killen should be in range. Let's see. What is Jeffro's play here?
Yell.
Das saying that if we wanted to emulate college football's overtime here, we'd have to start on the 8-yard line and have 2 turns to score. that'd be interesting.
I don't even know if the client allows for that sort of thing.
No, I don't think it would, but it'd be interesting to see if Kemry could do it, for example. Depends on who against and how many there's left. But I mean, 8 squares isn't too far for 2 turns for Kemry. I mean, it's kind of a light jog, right? I think you just have to take Jett, dodge away, and trust your roll like a 5, and then sneak through the gap from Stovall and just hit the ball. and then hope Jett can intercept the dump off pass? Or are you hoping to POW the blitzer with Jett and then come in with someone else? What's our play here, boys?
I think he's gonna hit Trayvon with Jett.
Jett, I think you go Jett. Oh, yeah, southwest and then over and around. Less tackle zones to deal with.
Yep, he's gonna go around. Couldn't bait out the diving tackle though, so now he's got to go through some zones here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dodge into Mr. Oh, okay. Interesting. Not the play I saw, but that's a huge stun as well. So now you go mark the ball, heads up, force Apo to roll something silly, perhaps. Although you can get a 2-die here, move an assist up, dodge the blitzer back, 2-die Jett with your tackler. And as long as you just... Well, you can't push him because that guy's in the way. But if you take him down, you walk into the end zone. Because Arik saying, I think I'd quote-unquote nutted up and tried to hit the carrier if you were doing that. Perhaps. Although that makes it a little tougher. I think you dodge with Kai, tag Spike, and then 2-die with Solo, skip, and then you have your Blodge Lino provide an assist, dodge away with Killins, 2-die Jett, hopefully take him down, walk into the end zone, win the game. Instead, he's using Killins for that. Interesting. Oh, he's going to pass the ball to the end zone. Of course he is. It's Apajar. Barely makes it with the dodge reroll. He's in the end zone. How are you getting it to him? Straight through the gap, straight into the end zone. That's a touchdown. That is game, set, match. Hawaii 2-1 over Ohio Wesleyan, and they did it with the Hawaii rules. I suppose, yes, all my analysis of 2-die blitzing the guy marking your ball carrier implied he would have to walk into the end zone without passing, and that's just not allowed, apparently. So, Hawaii manages to win the game. They redeem themselves after... I mean, that end of the first half, 15-yard completion for no reason just really bummed me out. But Hawaii pulls it off after some late game snakes on both sides. They're the victors of the Wonderbra Bowl, and we've got another game to do right now. So I'm going to close this stream, start up another one, and we're going to have the number 2 Gal Duet Death Bulls and the number 3 Duke Blue Devils here next on not ESPN, whatever channel this is. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I will close this up and start a new one, and we'll be right back.